boys and girls, yesterday we started talking about using our inner voice when we're tracking. We have been tracking as we read for quite a while. Every time we read something, we know that we need to leave tracks on our reading that proves to the reader and to ourselves that we are comprehending what we're reading, that we understand what we're reading. So we've been talking about this inner voice. Who can tell me what I mean when I say the inner voice? What do I mean, Alexia?
It's like a voice inside your head that tells you something and you're tracking it down so you know.
Very good. Yes, it's that voice in the back of my head. And I'm not talking like it's yelling at me or something. It's not that voice when you do things that you're not supposed to that sits there and says, don't do this, don't do this. It's that voice that is talking to you and reminding you of maybe things that you can relate to. Maybe we're reading a story about Prudy's problem. And in Prudy's problem, your inner voice was saying, oh, I've had a messy room before. Raise your hand if your inner voice said that when you read Prudy's problem. Definitely. So that inner voice, thank you so much, that inner voice is typically the thing that's making the relationship between you and the characters in the story and what's going on in the story. Okay? And it's helping you connect to the story. We want to connect to the story because when you connect, you're comprehending it. All right? Now, sometimes we read stories that we can't relate to. For example, a volcano. None of us have truly gone and seen a volcano erupt. Now, we've maybe seen it on TV. Maybe we've heard about it or read about it. But we've never actually seen it. So that connection is going to be a little different. All right. So we were in the middle yesterday of reading New York's Bravest. And who can remember some of the things that we said was going on in this story? First off, we said that this story was about what? Kara.
We said it was about a fireman.
Yeah, a fireman. It was about a fireman, and yes, sir.
It was about, I think it was the terrace that flew the building.
Well, we had that relationship, didn't we? We made the relationship to what happened from the terrorists in New York City. You're exactly right, yes.
He saved the baby.
Oh, yes, the big part where our inner voice was really shouting for Mose to save that baby. Remember that part? It was pleading and pleading. The woman wanted Mose to save her baby. And in our voice, in our inner voice, we were sitting there going, is he going to make it? Is he going to save the baby? But then, right when we ended, what was going on? Yes.
Mose was coughing.
Mose had coughed and was coming out of the fire, and
He got out, but the wooden ladder, it got hot on fire.
yes, the wooden ladder was catching on fire as he's coming down with the baby. All right, let's see what happened next.
Was the baby dressed? Yes. It was in his hat.
The mother baked Mose all the pies he could eat. To show their thanks, folks always gave Mose food and drink. Barrels of cider and coffee, bushels of oysters and potatoes, mountains of beans and eggs. You know, I make a relationship here when they talk about cider and barrels. Who remembers what story talked about ciders and barrels?
A day's work.
Not a day's work.
Rabbit and
William's house. Very good job. So in William's house, they used this same vocabulary, didn't they? They talked about cider and barrels. That helps confirm that this story took place in the
Old West.
Okay. Ragman gave him their least ragged clothes. Shoeshine boys shined his boots. Everyone knew if they ever needed help, they could count on Mose. For years and years, Mose ran uptown and downtown, east and west, putting out fires in tenements, mansions, factories, and stores.
not doing hard work because all his friends are putting it out. And he's at the house and giving it to children.
One night, the fire bell rang. Fire! Fire! An eerie glow lit up the sky. Mose and his boys pulled out the pumper and raced to the piers. A fire in a hotel near the Hudson was roaring out of control. What does roaring out of control mean? Roaring out of control. Who thinks it means roaring like a lion?
No.
Okay, so, Brandon, what does roaring out of control mean? That's an idiom, and what does that mean?
What, wrong?
Roaring out of control.
Maybe like the flames are getting too high or something?
Yeah, it's the flames and everything is
Expanding?
getting out of control and expanding. It's getting bigger and bigger and almost like worse, right? Very good. All night, Mose ran in and out of the building, rescuing bankers, bakers, shoemakers, dressmakers, preachers, and politicians. Some of those names, those nouns, were also mentioned in the very first story we ever read in 3rd grade.
Boomtown.
Boomtown, yes. Remember in Boomtown? They
Baker.
talked about bankers and bakers. The hotel burned to ashes, but all the people inside were saved.
Katie, can you go back in your spot? You just Yes, you can. Oh, no, she just moved from here to there.
As the sun came up, Moses' boys packed up to leave. Wait a minute, one said. Where's Mose? What can we write down here? What does Miss Donoho need to write down? I'm the one writing on this story. You're saving your Post-its for the next story.
He's maybe in trouble.
This could be trouble, right? Mose is missing. And I'm kind of, what is your inner voice telling you?
That he's buried under the building because he was saving everybody.
That he could still be in the building.
Maybe he got burned and maybe he died, I guess.
What, is your inner voice telling you something's not right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what my inner voice is telling me. My inner voice is telling me he saved all those people, and now we're just not sure about Mose, are we? Not in
He
this one.
saved everyone but himself.
Wow, maybe he saved everyone but himself. The firefighters looked around. They all stared at the burned out hotel, and they grew silent. What do you think that means? When in stories and in movies they say that it grows silent. What do you think that meant, that it grew silent?
Like it didn't say anything anymore.
No one's saying anything?
There's no noise or anything.
Okay.
Now if they see something, they just stand there shocked.
Maybe they're in shock. They're shocked. They're in shock. Anybody else? Chaz?
I think it means like, it grew silent. Like when it says grew silent, it became silent.
Okay.
There's like not a noise.
Okay. So they're probably all sitting there shocked, worried, maybe even surprised that Mose is not there. Why would they be surprised that Mose is not there? Yes.
Because he's one of the bravest, strongest, and
Yeah.
biggest.
He was a big part of this community, wasn't he?
Yes.
I know, one said finally. He must have jumped in the river. Yeah, that's it, said another. He must have swam to Jersey. Yeah,